welcome back to TCB, Taking Care of Business. I'm your host, Ilinda Resse, author of If I'm Looking for a Prince, Why Am I Still Kissing Frogs, and the newly released Till Death. Well, if you joined us last week, you became familiar with a new author. His name is Darryl McCullough. And we found the conversation so interesting, we in the studio here decided to continue our conversation with Darryl McCullough, Perfectly Sane. And we're finding out that Darryl's still crazy. Thank you for staying with us, Darryl.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now, we just decided to have you roll up your sleeves and come out fighting this time.
Yeah.
I mean, we just going to go with it, all right?
Sure.
Because we've already talked about the book Perfectly Sane and how you developed it. And if you missed it last week, you'll have to go back and get the archives. But you describe yourself as an angry black man. Just tell us what you're angry about, Darryl.
I dissect everything I see. I will look at you and I can go home and just write about what I think about you or the person I saw at the store. And a lot of times it ends up, I'm frustrated. Why isn't he being what he wants to be? Why isn't she being what she wants to be? Why is she that way? Why is he that way? And I just analyze things, I overanalyze things. And it always ends up being something angry. But it's funny, when people read my book, they find humor in it, but I'm really not happy.
Absolutely. And the reason we laugh at those sensitive situations and subjects is because it causes us to feel uncomfortable. But when we're uncomfortable, then we kind of chuckle or laugh. But really, if you can get people, they say, if you can get people laughing with their mouth open, you can put truth in.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's okay.
Yep.
We ended our last session talking about a raisin in a bowl of rice.
Sure.
Oh, white rice.
Yeah.
Okay, share with the new audience what that was about.
Well, it deals with my experience with white flight in the Maple Heights area, and the few white people that still remain, how black people would change the way that they do things, the way that they talk, the way that they walk, to impress their white neighbors. And it was almost like, look at me, hey, I got a white neighbor, I'm better than you. It's amazing how even like a place like Oakwood Village, all expensive homes, beautiful and everything, but the value of the homes are always depreciating because there's so many black people there. And I don't understand it, and raisin in a bowl full of rice just shows basically at the end how I'm trying to do things and better myself, have a better school for my children, which most of the time is in a white area. And I go outside to pick the paper up and I look outside and I don't see anything. I don't see me. And it's difficult.
Okay, and so with that topic, you started describing to me during our break about a situation where you were a token in this scenario, and the white folks came out to let's go see the black guy situation. Tell us about that.
It's interesting. When I was out cutting the grass, they would all drive by and look. Some would wave, some would not, but it's almost like look at the monkey in the zoo. That's just the way I felt, and they all knew me, but I knew none of them.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few who came out over doing it a little bit, coming over, oh, let's give them some tomatoes, let's do this. And I'm like, man, do white people do this all the time, but giving all this stuff up, cutting my grass, doesn't need to be cut, whatever. It was interesting, one of my neighbors, we were out drinking some homemade wine, and we're having a good time. I mean, he's been over the house several times. Pretty good relationship. And my son comes over and reaches for the glass. And he says, none for you, buckwheat.
The white neighbor says that to your son.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I was drinking wine, homemade wine, mind you, and I was a little tipsy. But when that happened, I was sober as a judge.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, I know that
you didn't just call my son buckwheat.
I mean, I'm telling you, I love my children. They are the best things ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. Which is why I wrote something called Political Correctness. I did not mean it like that. And when you're in a certain area, some white people just don't know. There are some white people who, I've been on business meetings and the guy go, our company's done a lot for coloreds. And I'm like, who says colors?
Colors.
But black people get the magazine because they're writing the magazine, but white people don't get that issue, and they may not know. Oh, you don't call them colored this month. You call them Negro. You don't call them Negro. You call them black. You don't call them black. You call them Afro
African
American.
American.
So they don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it seem like they're out of touch, but it could be.
And we don't know. I said we're the only race of people who have our identity is being changed and being changed from colored, Negro, black, African American,
Right.
and so we
And
don't
I didn't
know.
vote on any
You
of
know,
them.
you didn't vote on any of them.
And what happened with that neighbor? I went over his house again, and he said, "I want to show you something. I bought this new TV," and I go in there. He's got the collector's issue of the Little Rascals. So he loves the Little Rascals. So by him saying buckwheat, maybe he uh, was saying it in a nice way. I don't know.
Okay, but at that moment, when you became perfectly sober to what he was saying to your son, how did you react?
I was shocked. I did not say anything.
Oh.
And I am what you call a good black person.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not running around here calling HR. I'm not, unless positively necessary. So I'm used to that. So I was like, I know that this didn't happen.
Okay.
Be cool. And that's what I did.
So then later he showed you his buckwheat collection.
Right.
So it was supposedly, maybe, meaning affectionately said.
Right.
Uh-huh.
I don't think the guy does too much for me to say something to hurt me, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Even his neighbor, when I went over there and they said, guy's older gentleman, he says, yeah, I heard about you moving to the neighborhood and everything like that. You seem like a really nice guy. I always wanted a black friend.
Yes.
Like I was a dog.
Right.
But maybe they just don't know.
Okay. And I find that interesting because when people say, when other races say, I have black friends, someone else said, there's not enough of us to go around for everybody to have one black friend. And so I find a lot of your stories in here fascinating. What is the reason that you decided to? Most of the stories in Perfectly Sane, I find, could be individual books. And they have very deep thought to them. What is the reason you decided to do the compilation versus doing perhaps several individual books?
When I meet various authors and they would say, I read a book and if I don't get it after 10 pages, I put the book down. I didn't want anybody to put my book down. I wanted them to say, that story was okay, but this one was better, and this one, I just wanted to give them a total collage of my world, their world, hopefully. And it was fun. It was exciting to write it like that. I'm just going to give you a little bit here. And, my mother, when I wrote Perfectly Sane, I said, Mom, I'm going to do another book. And I'm going to put them together. And she's like, I said, Mom, I'm doing another book. She's like, I don't know how you could come up with anything else. You talked about everything.
Yes.
But I still keep writing.
She doesn't realize the world that's inside of here. Just for someone to actually get inside there and find out what's going on in your world, there's a lot going on in there. So.
Right. And I'm thankful to her because there were a lot of things in there. I touch on the whole stepfather thing. I didn't want a stepfather. Because I despise my stepfather so much, I would not even date a woman with children. And I put all those thoughts in there, how I felt about my stepfather, how I felt about a lot of issues, why my mother even stayed in that relationship.
Was it abusive?
My mom's one of those, used to be meek, but the world and men have changed her into a very independent woman, very strong woman, but still very loving and affectionate. I'd have to say it was abusive because when he says what he would say, she would come back. No, I'm not going to take that, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, geez, please, Mama, don't, But it was a tough environment.
Okay.
And I think that, no, I was not molested or anything like that, but I learned what emotional abuse is.
Exactly. And most people don't understand that it's more difficult to overcome emotional abuse versus physical abuse. Well, when we come back, we're going to be getting more information and sharing with Darryl McCullough of Perfectly Sane. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Darryl McCullough from Detroit, Michigan, and also grew up here in Cleveland. And he's the author of Perfectly Sane. Darryl, tell us, there's a story in here called The Death Between Us.
Hmm. That was, I started out as a poet. And after you read 20 poems, it's like, okay, I get it. I'm a little bored. So I said, okay, let me do some essays, throw that in there. And then I came up with this Death Between Us, which was really like a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to how could I do this? That was my introduction to screenwriting.
Okay, because that particular story is actually, it starts off talking about two young women that are practicing every weekend for a lover with each other. Is that correct?
Yes.
But it's not describing a homosexual experience.
Right.
Okay. And so then it leads into jealousy as they grow up and all of that. So that is, as you said, that's going to be developed into a screenplay, or
Yeah, it was a screenplay, but I like the story, so I have them in both. It was like a short, and it also was just revealing some things, how this girl was practicing to be the best lover, basically, she could for her husband, and all the things that she goes through when they're married and he loses interest, and it's just it takes you around different ways. But I like that story.
And it brings out some deeper thoughts because when they're practicing, deciding who's going to be the male this time, etc., then it appears as if it's a lesbian act, but it's not. But then they're seen by a peeping Tom, and
right.
It's really just very intricate here. How about the one about why do you have to be gay or something?
Yeah. People, we've grown as a people to say, oh, that's okay, let them do what they want to do.
'Cause that's a hot topic right now.
Yeah. That may be true. Let people do what they want to do. The drug dealer down the street can do what he wants to do. But when he's next door to you or in your house, it changes everything. And you're not looking at things from the outside. You're on the inside. And I kept looking at TV and everything was gay this. And it was very popular. And if I didn't like it or said something about it, oh, you're homophobic. But I don't like drug dealers either. So now am I drug dealer phobic?
Okay.
Gays, they're just like black people. They did not choose this. They didn't choose this, which is the worst illustration I've ever heard in my life. Every day I walk out of that door, they look at me and say, that's a black man.
That's right.
But a gay guy can walk out, they don't automatically think he's gay unless he's got a pink hat on or something.
Okay. And then you don't have a choice being a black man. You're going to forever be a black man.
Right.
Okay.
I wrote, this lady in Detroit has a column, and she said, black people should be more in favor of homosexuals because of they're enduring with black people. Boy, and I emailed her and I let her have it. That was just the worst illustration, I thought, especially for a black person to say.
Oh, she was a black person saying that to you.
And I said, you think if Martin Luther King was alive, he'd say, okay, go march with the homosexuals. I don't think so.
Okay. What was her reaction to you?
She didn't email me back. I know she got it. But it's a hot subject. It's hot, and I just don't know where we're going in the future with gay marriage, and it's not an easy pill for me to digest.
With all of these thoughts that you have, and as you said, you don't just take things on the surface, you analyze them, you go deep with them. How are you going to indoctrinate your children to the world that they will have to face?
Well, that was the goal. My father was killed in a car accident when I was 6 months, and all I had basically were pictures and what people said about him, thought about him. And I said, you know what, I will not let someone, if something happens to me, I will not let someone tell the story of your father. I want you to know it. So as I became a little freer, writing different things, I said, oh boy, they'll never get to see this book until they're like 18. But it's the truth through me. And I hope that it would prepare them for life. I have a son, and really I was only thinking about son, and it was great. And when my wife was pregnant the next time, and I was just knew I was going to have a son. And when a little girl came out, I was like, "Oh, you're kidding me! My life is over," you know,
because yes,
I just saw her 16 years old. I'm pregnant. You know, he's got a Jerry curl. He's a rapper. And my whole life is over, you know.
Okay.
But
you're really speaking the sentiments of most fathers with their daughters.
Yeah. And so
and I'm gonna have to kill somebody.
Yeah. But my son, I want him to explore the whole world now. You know, he can bring women in all night. You know what I'm saying? Which is wrong. It's a double standard.
Yeah.
But I had to change things to gear it for my daughter. You know, so she would see men for what they are, and the world for what they are. I believe all men are dogs.
Okay.
If they're not dogs, they at least have doggish characteristics. They want to be dogs, and the ones who are not dogs just don't have anybody to be a dog with.
Okay.
That's just how I feel.
There's an article in here that I cannot read to you, I cannot share with you, because it really talks about the difference between making love and just doing it, and that kind of describes that person. But then no, that article talks about it from the reverse of the woman wanting to be with someone but not make love.
Right.
Okay. But then when you think in terms of your daughter, how will you protect your daughter from that mentality?
I don't know, because if she's a strong woman, usually opposites attract. Strong women, they don't want to admit it, but they're usually attracted to weak men.
Bad boys.
And I don't mean, I mean.
Not even bad boys, you mean weak men.
Yeah, and I don't mean like he doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, like a punk, so to speak, but he's just mild, and vice versa. And I want my daughter to be strong. And and one thing I cannot stand is a weak man. I think that's why we deal with a lot of the issues we have with why women talking about, I don't need a man, and I don't. Hey, what's all the hostility for? I've never heard a white woman say that. You know, I never heard a white woman say, I don't need a man. Why are black women so frustrated? Why are we so angry? What are we doing to you to make you say that? You do need a man. We need a woman. You know, so I want my daughter to have a good guy. You know, maybe if I could pick him out, I don't know.
And you probably will try.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to go down, but it's going to be tough.
So you believe that white women are being satisfied in their relationships with the men, or you believe that how they handle their frustrations are different? They don't go to the opposite to say, I don't need a man, or what is their thoughts on that?
They don't go to the extreme. You know, they're a little more passive, maybe, where it seems like black women are angry automatically. Hey, whoa, you know, what did I do? And despite this, I never could come home to a white woman, because you wouldn't understand when I walked across the street and they locked the doors or whatever, and I'm the whitest of the blackest, you know, man.
Yes,
I'm not a troublemaker. You know what I'm saying?
You're the token.
Yeah.
That everybody gets along with, but yet they still lock the door.
Right. So they don't know, but it's just different. So I don't know what's really going on. So that's why I just try to just check things out and investigate. Why do we do what we do? Why do we think what we think?
And perhaps this tape will be one that you will show your daughter, so that she can understand the frustration that you had when she becomes that angry teenager saying, my father won't let me do anything. Then say, okay, sit down, baby. Watch this tape and see how frustrated I was in trying to help you to be developed to be the strong woman.
Right.
How old is she now?
She's 2.
She's 2. Oh, wow.
Going on 16.
Yeah, she got a long way to go.
You know, she's going to be asking to get a tattoo on her hip or get a tongue pierced.
Okay, yes. And
which
a
will
nose
never
ring,
happen. You know,
a belly ring.
But it's crazy.
She's going to show up one day and it's going to be like, what happened to my daughter?
And which is my issue with parenting. And my wife's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And this is by choice. I said, if we have this child, this will be our responsibility, not my mother, not your mother. You know, if I bring the kids over there, they're like, oh, wow. You know, it's a treat.
Yes.
It's not a job. I just believe that you can make it on one income. I'm not a Rockefeller or anything like that, but Uh, I try to live within my means, and it works. So when somebody is home
Mm-hmm.
to watch over these kids, because
Mm-hmm.
it is a terrible situation
And
out
how
here.
old is the son?
6.
6. Okay, so 2 and 6. So we got a ways to go. So
Hmm.
will that keep you from? And we're running quickly out of time again. Will that keep you in corporate America because of that, or will you be able to venture out and really pursue the filmmaking and the writing and the book tours and all that?
I like to do both because I have to have some stability. My
Yes.
job right now, 9 to 5, pays the rent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just throw everything away
Yes.
on a film and then I have nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I got babies to take care of, you know.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So,
And that's being a responsible black man.
hey.
When we come back, once again, we'll share with you how to get in touch with our author of Perfectly Insane. No, Perfectly Sane. Which is he? He's still crazy. Okay, we'll be right back. TCB, taking care of your business. And we've been taking care of business here with Darryl McCullough, author of Perfectly Sane, then Perfectly Insane, and soon to be released I'm Still Crazy, and hopefully a novel on a raisin in a bowl of, I added white rice, but rice. Um, but we find his thoughts fascinating, and there's topics in here that, I mean, infatuation, strangulation, and masturbation. Okay, a tomato in the face. Can anyone say, in quotes, positive blacks? You'll just want to get a hold of Darryl to find out his thoughts and where you can get Perfectly Sane. Darryl, tell us.
My website should be up next month. It will be, it's called The Sane Poet. They can contact me at my email right now, sanepoet@msn.com, or they can call me 216-214-1076.
And that's great because, well, for those in Cleveland, because even though you're located in Detroit, you've got a 216 phone number.
Makes it easy for my mother.
Yes,
You know.
yes, excellent. Um, and if you'd like to let us know how much you're enjoying TCB, you can get in touch with us at www.villagetelevision.com and leave us your comments, or you can reach me personally at Ilinda, Ilinda, at imjresources, reesources.com, and we'll respond back to you. We hope that our conversation has stimulated you mentally, and that it has caused you to start thinking about some things, that ordinary things that you take for granted, and you just want to explore a little bit deeper, go beneath the surface and analyze what's really going on. And until next time, we'll see you on